That was the intro. The most underwhelming intro we've ever had.
That is true. But you know what's not underwhelming is all this stuff we got going on up here.
I know.
Goodness.
So, I mean,
Man.
I don't know. We're doing a mustache
No, you guys
contest.
are
You're just
impressive,
the
right?
man.
That's just him as a normal.
You're just the man that didn't shave this morning.
Yeah, no, I didn't.
He actually said he's doing no shave November, like fully just growing it out.
Well, I'm just keeping it like trim, but I'm not like.
What's that? How's that any different than what you already do?
Yeah, I would say that
I don't know. I'm actually growing
no
it out
shave
way
November,
more.
like
'Cause normally I just trim it like, but keep it shorter. This time I'm just trying to make sure
Well,
it's not all super scraggly and stuff. You know?
I feel like the point of no shave November is to let it grow out, but I feel like because like I've been trimming this
the neck.
part.
I trim
yeah,
the
yeah.
neck. Yeah.
Some guys
But
get it way up
I've
here,
even
I
trimmed
get it up
the
here a
sides, but because I'm doing
I get like
engagement
3
photos.
random annoying
Yeah.
hairs like on
Oh,
each
yeah.
side.
bit. Oh,
I'm
yeah,
getting
no.
that. Well, no, so I had this all grown out, but we're getting engagement
Yeah, see,
photos
you even
tomorrow.
trimmed a little
We're getting
bit,
engagement
too.
photos tomorrow, so I'm trying to
That
trim.
is
I
true.
trimmed it up and kind of made this look a little bit more shaped.
Yeah, that's
Instead of
exactly
random.
what I'm getting at. It's more like sculpting. I'm gonna sculpt it better, but I'm gonna let it
Grow
all
it and sculpt it instead of
Yeah, and you guys are just going all out.
Yeah, it'll be
You guys,
just shy of 2 months by the time
I
we're
was gonna
like
say
done
it
with
because
it.
you guys are going until
'Cause actually,
early
see what-
December, right?
In 3 days, it will have been 1 month since we started.
Oh wow, yeah. So you guys are going pretty deep.
So
About
we
2
still
months.
have like a whole.
And we go until December 6th.
Yeah,
So we still have what, like
still
two,
got- you got-
3 weeks?
you got 3 weeks.
Yeah. 3 weeks.
Do you know what today is?
I don't know what today is. No,
Mm.
no, I don't.
Yeah, you get like 3 to 3.5 weeks.
Yeah. There we go. See, I don't pay attention to dates. That's stupid.
Well, today is 11/11.
Yeah, so make a wish if you're listening
Well,
to us.
but by the time that they're seeing this, it's too late.
But the
Make a
fact
wish.
that the moment happened, they can experience it with us.
Although it's
Like,
most
you can make a
powerful if
wish
you make
now.
a wish on 11/11 at 11/11.
That's true. Oh man, I'm gonna have to catch that one later.
Yeah, I missed it earlier today.
I was gonna say I think I did too. So.
I was playing Knights of the Old Republic.
Oh yeah.
Have you ever
Right.
played that game?
Yes, I have actually.
I know
Yeah.
you didn't finish it, right? Or no, you
No,
finished it. Your
I
brother
just-
was the one who hasn't finished.
Yeah, I played. It's just been so long. I don't
Wait,
remember
so-
every little thing.
Yeah.
Xbox just made it backwards compatible with the Xbox One, so I'm replaying it because I'd played it way back then.
Yeah, exactly.
It's still a great game, and it's funny because at the time, like I realized this a while ago, but at the time I never knew that when I picked up and started playing Mass Effect, they were the same publisher. But now it's like like half of my favorite games are all BioWare games because they're just so good with the story part.
And that's those divisions that choose to invest in the story as opposed to like just certain scenarios.
I finally got off the first planet, that you're stuck on forever, which is kind of a boring planet, but it took me like 7 hours because I'm not gonna just rush through. I want to do other stuff there
you want
too.
to explore the universe, and that's what's so cool about video games. I mean, the opportunity to explore, and then the RPG aspect where you can kind of play out.
Mm-hmm.
You can play the game multiple times and have a completely different
because you can
experience.
choose to take the light side or the dark side or kind of middle of the
Yeah,
ground.
so
And
it's
like
like-
last time I played as a soldier, and this time I played as a scoundrel, so I can do more with like hacking and all that kind of
so
stuff.
it really changes the dynamic. You kind of get to see each character's role play out based on what you want.
I will
So-
say the only thing with replaying Knights of the Old Republic and remembering the last time I played it, I don't feel like they did as good of a job in some of the early games as they've done in, like, even though I know a lot of people hate on Andromeda, they did a really good job with your companions in there to where all of them are useful.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas here, like, I always just stick with, like, 2 soldiers, basically, or
That are
when
nameless
she's
almost.
available, the other Jedi, because it's like, they're the ones who can take the most damage and put
Yeah.
out the most damage, as opposed to, it's like, because I am like the hacker, I don't need to have like 2 of the other people, and it's like, so I never end up getting any interaction with
That's
those other
true.
characters. Whereas, like I said, in Andromeda, you could just, I would switch out people all the time because it
Yeah,
was like,
you literally
they're
get
all
your
good
own crew,
to have.
your own team, and you can kind of frame that. How do you go?
I feel like that's how I was like I played the Fallout games, and it's like you always get like the dog in it or the robot, and I'm like, oh, they're so cool, but in the end, like there were the other people you get were so much better. So it was really cool having the dog around or the robot, but it's like they're not doing damage like the dude with the gun is doing, and like the sniper. So I always I feel conflicted Because I even know with Mass Effect, I used like the same 2 people pretty much the entire time.
Well,
Like
yeah.
I didn't really venture out of it unless it made me.
You can, but it's only if it's advantageous.
Actually, the 2 times I played through the first Mass Effect, I actually did change who I had with me because I tried to balance it out.
As well,
but it depended on who I was, because the first time I played through as a soldier, and so I wanted Liara and Tali with me because they're the best in their respective things. But the second time I was playing as a biotic, I wanted someone to be like my tank, so I kept choosing. I'm blanking what the Rex.
Oh yes,
because I needed some tanky guy.
Yeah.
I was banging Liara in that game, so she was always with me, no matter if I needed her or not.
Well, the second time actually no, the first time I played as a woman, so I couldn't go. I know I could go after her.
Yeah, you could.
And I did.
Bam.
Ho.
And then the second time I just mixed it up because I'd already romanced her. Plus, in the second one you get Miranda if you're a male. So
yeah, nope. I stuck with Liara. I'm that kind of
faithful.
guy. Yeah,
he was faithful to her all 3 games. I switched it up every game. I gotta get some new exotic booty.
Oh man.
I did accidentally romance some people without knowing. Like I think I accidentally was romancing Talia at the same time.
Yeah.
And then what is it? There was Liara and another girl. And at one point, they, like, argue and fight
It's
over
probably
you.
the first one with Ashley.
Yeah, and, like, they come up and they're like, which one do you choose? And I was like, I didn't even know I was flipping over. So,
That's just a
Liara...
difference in, like, culture for them. You
Didn't
know?
mean to.
It was like,
sorry.
just trying to be nice.
Yeah, like, so I didn't even know. So when that happened,
like,
RJ,
you
I remember
someone
him
or
laughing. And he was like, why'd you romance both of them? I was like, I didn't know I was.
Well, and like we probably don't want to talk too much about Mass Effect since we talked about it in the past, but just again, you're talking about how those kinds of games can have so many different ways, because Bethesda, like you said, with Fallout or with all the Elder Scrolls games, like they can have such. Overall, the main story is still the same, but you can have different paths to get there. Like him losing like half his crew members that all stayed alive for me just because of different decisions or things that he didn't realize he was doing.
Decision. I went back and replayed the whole game because I didn't like it.
Really? Wow.
Or and that's always been cool to me that like, or at the end of Knights of the Old Republic, when the big reveal that hey, you're Revan, spoiler, it's from 2003.
Yeah, right. Flashback.
Like you have the opportunity then to either kill the Jedi that you're fighting alongside, or you do stop the Sith, and it's like depending on which one you have the dark side or the light side ending.
Yeah.
And then
so you still pick at the end.
I don't remember. I'm pretty sure that ending still carries over into the next game. I don't remember a ton about the second game other than it's exactly the same plot.
Yeah.
Because you're like the lieutenant.
Yeah.
And I remember at the end, the final boss in there, the Sith Lord, is like she uses the Force and has 2 floating lightsabers that you have to fight also.
Just seems
and she was super annoying.
Oh yeah.
And I like cheesed her by hiding in a corner to where like only the lightsabers could get me, and so I destroyed them and then just fought her and wiped her out super easy.
Not so powerful now, are you? So I think with that we should lead in really to the big conversation today because I'm an impatient asshole and I just want to talk.
You need a segue. You know who owns Star Wars? Oh, Disney. You know who Disney also owns? Marvel. You know what Marvel movie just came out? Thor Ragnarok.
Man, we have a lot
there
to talk
you go.
about.
I got you.
Okay,
Marvel
I also want to
Disney.
say this is a spoiler right now. So stop.
Everything in today will be spoiler. And
so
if you haven't seen it,
with that,
maybe you should.
I want you to look at that poster. I want you to
justice.
imagine short hair. This one, short hair, and him
John Watson.
missing an eye.
Short hair.
Short hair.
Whoa.
Actually, he's in the Marvel universe.
I'm bringing up the eye because I'm still.
You gotta segue.
It's haunting me.
You just skipped to like the end.
Yeah, I did.
Okay, so he's still got 2 eyes.
Oh my gosh.
So, Thor Ragnarok. The quickest way to describe it is the biggest divergence from the previous ones in its line. So, like Thor 1, Thor 2, very similar in their vein, and this one is very different from them, and yet at the same time, still works.
In the realm. Still in the realm, but like very it's an out there take.
So let's
let's dive right.
Yeah.
The opening scene. And the
Dude.
humor that they allow Chris Hemsworth to like exhibit here,
So, and I wanna-
totally like sets the tone.
And I want to point out, in case you guys don't know, 80% of dialogue in this movie is all improvised.
He got it from IMDb.
I did.
Is that?
Well, I actually knew that before.
That's what it said.
I
if
did
that is
before.
true. I did read something that said
Yeah.
like they allowed Chris Hemsworth
So,
to be more of himself. And
What?
that kind
Yeah. What happened is like the new director came in and he said that there was already so much chemistry between everyone. He didn't want to try and direct that because he felt he would take away from it. And once he got to know Hemsworth, he realized like he's just a naturally funny guy. And
Yeah,
he said,
he looks like Thor.
yeah, right.
He's like the perfect.
And he said like
He's not
He's-
acting at a
Yeah,
certain
no,
he
no.
doesn't need to.
No, and I'll get into that. So he said, like, he's naturally funny, and he didn't feel like that was being utilized as much.
Right.
So he came
Yeah,
in...
because it always was serious in tone. It felt like
Exactly,
both of
and so
them.
he said when he came in, he played off the fact that they were all friends, they all knew each other, they all had chemistry, and they all, like, joked around. And he pretty much told them, like, here's the base of what I want. You guys just make it your world and go.
Yeah.
And so a lot of it was just, like, improvised. And so going back and seeing it the second time, I could see moments where you can see them start to crack up and it like switches to another scene because you know like they're about to like lose it.
Wait, let's get into that for a second. He saw it under the radar. At this point, they can't really get mad at you because they probably won't watch this anyway.
Yeah.
He saw it without his brother and dad knowing, and then told me to lie to Jordan, which you did ask where you were.
Yeah.
What?
Not this Jordan. His brother Jordan.
There's a lot
Because
of
they
those.
get mad when I see it without them, and we were already going to
Oh, so
see
you
it.
didn't tell them that you had
No,
seen
I
it.
told them I was going to see. This is so bad. I told them I was going to see Kingsman, which I actually saw the night
day
before
before,
with
yeah.
my fiance. So
So you could still talk about it.
Yeah. So my brother like came in and was like, oh, like where are you going? I was like, I'm going to see Kingsman with Jay. And he's like, oh, cool. And he's like trying to like give away fake stuff about the movie, and I'm like laughing because like I already know what happens in the movie. And so he's like trying to like watch out, people die, like. And I was like, oh, what, really? Like, no. And then I come back, and he's like, it was so good. I was like, yeah. And then, like, when he'd leave the room, I'd, like, whisper to RJ.
So what'd you think about Thor Ragnarok? And we'd start talking. There's one point where he went, wait, did you hear my brother's door?
Oh man.
And so
Well, yeah.
I kept
So
going
you
to
guys
that.
saw it a week after me, so I'm the real fan because I saw it opening
You
night.
saw it opening night.
You were supposed to see it.
We were.
Sort of.
But
We went to Tommy.
We were seeing Tommy Buns Segura.
Yeah.
Yeah, the hat comic.
If you haven't seen him,
It was funny.
check
But
it
so
out.
Worth it. It
Thor.
was worth it. Anyway.
The director, I may be pronouncing his name wrong, and I can never remember like how to say it. It's Taika Waititi.
Okay, probably not right, but we'll go with that.
Look how it's spelled.
Yeah, let's see. Yeah, I'm not gonna try that
Because
one.
he's the one who plays the Rock Monster. That's the
yeah,
director.
yeah. He had like 6 different roles doing the film. I read.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I know he was the Rock Monster. Was that his actual voice, or was he doing, like, using... Because that was so funny, like, the Rock Monster guy.
Korg, right?
Korg.
Yeah, no. He
Well,
was
yeah,
great.
so-
he was another comic.
So funny.
My,
Hey, we're going on
I
that
think
giant
my
ship. You want to come with
my
us,
big
bud?
kind of
so subtle.
I know, it's so funny.
problem with the movie, just to throw it out there, because this will tie into pretty much the rest of the discussion, I
Okay.
think, is that I feel like the Hela storyline / Ragnarok storyline is the afterthought of the movie.
See, and I disagree.
Like,
It's
I highly disagree.
the beginning is so rushed through just to get Thor to Sitar. Is that what it's called? I can't remember.
I think it's Satari or
So wasn't this movie was originally supposed to run almost like... Oh, never mind. That's Kingsman. I'm getting
Are you
my
for real?
IMDb facts mixed up in my head.
Well, and I do think to combat mine,
Why do you think?
if it was a
afterthought?
longer movie, it could have been like, so the beginning, we throw Thor into the situation where he's fighting Surtur, which is fine, but
Great.
it's one of those, like, if you've seen any movie, you automatically go, okay, so literally everything he's telling us is exposition of what's going to happen later and why we need to
Yeah, it's
know
almost
that.
like the movie's like
But
a
that's fine.
self-fulfilling prophecy.
Um,
almost.
That's fine. And then we get back to Asgard. Again, still fine with the movie at this point. And in fact, the part with like Anthony Hopkins like lounging back and eating grapes.
Like he
And
ever
did you
that.
see the Matt Damon cameo?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
He was the one playing Loki.
Yeah,
Loki.
he
and
was
then
Loki.
Luke Hemsworth was Thor.
And then
Oh, I didn't. That was
Sam Allen, I think it's his name. The guy who plays Or no, sorry, it's the guy who plays Dr. Allen in Jurassic Park.
Plays Odin.
Oh,
Was
Sam Neill?
Odin. That's it.
Yeah. He's also in Peaky Blinders.
He was Odin in
He
that?
was
Yeah.
Odin.
Oh man, I didn't catch
See,
that one.
he's the one that
Definitely
I
caught
had
the
a
Matt
harder
Damon
time
one.
seeing.
But yeah, Matt Damon was like, so obviously
Yeah,
we're sitting
that's
there
hilarious.
and
I was
like,
like, oh my
is that
gosh.
Matt Damon?
That's Matt Damon.
But so all that's good, but then I felt like the second they went to Earth, it was very just like, let's just get through like why we need to be introducing our villain and get her out there. And so it's like we go down. The interaction with Doctor Strange was funny.
Been falling for 30 minutes.
But then, and then we go to Norway where Odin just, oh, hey guys, I'm dead. Oh, by the way, Hela's going to appear right next to you for some reason. They never really, I mean, you could, I guess, say that that's why Norway was so important, is because that's where they always came down to on Earth. And, like, that's where he, like, captured her away. But,
I get what you're saying.
and then they go straight to Asgard, and she kicks him out. It just felt very forced of quickly, let's just go through all this stuff to get her introduced, but also get them just off and onto Sitar.
See, I didn't mind how
I
they
think
did
it worked, though,
Yeah, I thought
because
it worked really well. I didn't mind how they did
he
it at all.
loses his hammer right away.
Yeah, I think it was all done. Like, I think... So what more? How could you have done that? Like, to drag that scene on? Like, if you would have dragged it on, I think it would have just gotten...
I guess my biggest contention was, like, how it tied together, like, the backstory. But, I mean, it's all explained over time. And I think, you know, it sets the stakes when she comes and she kind of, like, is able to, like, abolish, you know, Thor and Loki while also destroying his hammer.
Well,
and then...
Yeah.
She immediately
and
was
I
able
know
to go
originally,
right to Asgard.
yeah, originally they said she was gonna come into New York, and they liked it in Norway better, just how it set up, and they said the fact that that's where he died, and she knew her brothers were there, so that's why she came there. It's because Odin had just died there, and then she wanted to take them out first.
If she could go anyway, why not just go to the place where they keep saying that she has the most powerful?
Because she wanted to take the brothers out.
She used it as a bait and switch. Because they were in Asgard. So it's like, hey, you meet me here. I'm going to flip you, go to Asgard myself, and you can be abolished to...
But she seemed, at least the way it seemed, she had no way to get to Asgard without the Bifrost.
Well, maybe it's because she's been...
Yeah, but if she knew that they would trigger that, then she had the opportunity to use it and then go to Asgard.
But see, now you're just adding stuff.
No, because I really do think she didn't have the power to get to Asgard. I don't think she had the power.
But we also
she needed them to get there, and she knew that they would
did
go
she
back.
even know that she had... She didn't seem to know who they were.
Yeah, she did.
I think she did. Well,
yeah, she knew who they were.
Yeah, I think she knew. She was like really bothered by the fact of how the history was portrayed with like a
not that part. I'm talking when she first talks to them.
No, I get what you're saying, but
I think she knew.
The way I remembered it was kind of like, oh, we're Thor and Loki, like the sons of Odin. Or whatever.
He says, I'm Thor, son of Odin. She's like, you don't look like him. And he's like, I think we can come up with agreement. Well, you sound like him. So I think she's aware of who they are, or at least of the situation.
But why? If she's been...
But if she
could
be
over...
She could be looking in, like Heimdall can look into stuff. Even
we never get any indication.
Isn't the biggest thing that Thor and Loki are totally unaware of her?
Yeah,
and
but
she
I think
uses that to her advantage?
If she is locked away, even if she does have that power, which she clearly doesn't, why would Odin allow her to be seeing what's going on if he's locking her away? That doesn't
make
any sense.
Way. We don't know. But she could have been cast away when they were babies. Because, like, when
that's
they
what
were...
it seemed like.
Yeah, I mean, they could have been babies.
But that still doesn't
she
explain how she knew other stuff that went on.
I think she would be able to see,
because
she's still powerful.
Point.
She's still powerful, and it says Odin's been keeping her at bay. It doesn't say she's powerless.
Yeah, wasn't his, like, the stakes was that he had to die to unleash her, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
and then that basically happened with Loki.
Yeah, he said he's been keeping her at bay. That doesn't mean...
Well, maybe at bay was the meeting point.
Exactly, so she could have still been
used that to, like, finally get through. Because I feel the biggest thing she wanted to do and accomplish was get to Asgard. And in doing so, she did just that. And from there, she took over, and then, she staked her claim to her crown.
I feel like she is able to see stuff that's going on.
I feel like it was really well portrayed.
It's not part of her powers.
So do
I feel like, but even if it wasn't, she found a way to...
I'm not looking at it from a Norse...
I'm saying what?
She doesn't have... The only power she ever displays... Sorry, two powers. She brings back the dead, which makes sense. She's the goddess of death. And she throws a bunch of spikes.
True.
But it also says she's extremely powerful. It doesn't give
If
a
she
list
could
of everything
supposedly
she can
see
do.
where everything is and what's going on, how come she couldn't find Heimdall?
That's bam. Well, I don't think she wasn't really ever looking for Heimdall.
Well, what was she looking for? What are you saying she was looking for?
No, she was never looking for Heimdall.
She knew that there's a resistance and that Heimdall's hiding.
No, she didn't know it was him because when she came in, Heimdall was already gone. He had been cast out, and no one. So she came in, and that dude was in charge of the sword. She didn't know any like. Think about it. It never mentions her looking for Heimdall or her knowing he's. She just knows there's a resistance. She has no idea who's leading it.
Okay, so even if she doesn't know it's Heimdall, how come she can't find the resistance?
Does she care at that point? I mean,
Yeah.
She didn't seem like the type to care about you.
Exactly. She's already where she is, and she already has
I
power.
kind of thought was portrayed.
And you have to know what to look into.
Stop leaning back.
Oh yeah, we're getting.
But it doesn't, like, you have to know what to look into, necessarily. So if she doesn't know, Heimdall's gone, why is she looking for Heimdall?
But is she aware of him?
That's what I'm saying. Like, she may not be aware,
Like that's the thing, too. It is a little unclear of who is aware of what. There's certain assumptions we can make, and there's certain things that are indicated. But to assume those, like, intricate details, that could totally change the way you view the plot.
Yeah.
Essentially. And, like, how they tie it all together. So, but moving forward, what do you guys think about they finally introduced Hulk coming into the MCU? And he's had some time away.
Kind of how they went about it.
I would have liked to see more of the whole Gladiator stuff. Like, I thought that was the best part of the movie. And I felt like one match and then they broke out, which is fine, but it would have been cool to see him try to get out and fail, like trying to talk to Hulk throughout, like, each time they fight or something like that. It could have been cool.
Yeah. I mean, I like the Gladiators. I don't think it would have made sense to have him keep fighting, though. But I did think... So one of the things, like, I thought was going to be really weird was the fact that the Hulk talks more. And
as Hulk.
As Hulk,
like
and has more of a personality. Because I feel like before this, the only Hulk we see is, like, the raged out beast.
Just complete rage, nothing else.
I mean, we do see, like, a little bit in Avengers 1 where he's like, I'm always angry, and the Hulk's kind of more aware of stuff, but it's not even to the point you see now. Like, now, and I mean, that could be...
Even in that moment, like, when he first sees Black Widow in the ship, and then just that emotional reaction, and him finally breaking down. I mean, that's what allows him to even get back to Banner.
And him even, like, he even talks about Banner. He's like... No, I don't want Banner. Like, so the Hulk's like
they were both very like split of each other, and that's the biggest problem for the Hulk. Like his biggest struggle is being able to control both sides, but these sides were completely detached from each other.
Yeah, and so I feel like we see more emotion. And I feel like even in the Gladiator arena, I feel like the Hulk is fully aware of Thor. He's like, I don't give a shit.
And just to touch on that, like Thor even played off. He was very humorous about like, oh, I only like the Hulk. I don't like Banner.
I know. He's
and
like,
then,
Banner's all numbers.
Like, oh, I love Banner. I barely like that.
Hulk's all
sometimes we need him.
Strongest Avenger.
Yes, the strongest Avenger.
It was just and I felt like I was gonna be more upset with the Hulk like being more aware of stuff, but I do like I don't know if they really explained it, but I feel like I got it because like he's been the Hulk for 2 years.
2 years. He's
2 years. He's like more in control and like he's aware of stuff, and he's kind of like it's funny because he's almost like a child. He does a lot of childish things when he's interacting with Thor.
Like, he could break anything, but
and so he's just kind of there. And I mean, and we do get like the thing of Banner saying like Hulk was in complete control. If I go back to the Hulk, I may never be Banner again.
That was his concern, yeah.
And I think like kind of moving forward a little bit, like when you see Banner turn back into the Hulk, like you see him jump and he just smashes. And it almost looks like Banner's dead. So I want to ask, do you guys think that's a representation of Banner being gone? Or do you think that was just meant for a joke?
Meant for a joke.
Yeah, meant for a joke. Which it was funny. I mean...
This one definitely had a humorous tone.
Definitely. And I think they definitely just play off that very well. And I think it was a little weird how, like, Banner, like, when he turned back into Banner, I thought that was a little bit weird because he was just, like, so stressed out, the Hulk's taking over, I'm on this planet, like, and then they're, like, trying to hide who he is when I felt like it's pretty obvious, like, who else would it be, like, this random person?
But that's what Thor kept telling them, like, why you are in disguise, basically.
Yeah, because they've never seen him.
Even Valkyrie doesn't know who he is.
Well,
she's like, why are you here?
Valkyrie should have known a little bit, maybe, but...
That's another thing, I think Valkyrie was a good character, but I feel like they kind of just glossed over her backstory. Like,
I'll agree there.
I don't remember. Was it me and you who were talking where it was like they kind of show like this confrontation with Hela and like the other person dies and then it just kind of never goes back to it and it's
like what exactly
I
happened
expected
to her?
like the like that hard truth or whatever is that she like ran away from the thing and maybe going down the road we'll learn more about it, but I felt like with what they showed us all it was oh we got defeated and somehow I survived. But I think
I was led to believe
you think
she was
even
the
just
last
having
one,
that like
but I don't know.
thing of like her seeing the other person getting stabbed and being like making the decision like I want to live and I'm gonna run away. Like
yeah, they really didn't indicate what decision she did make there. More it was like this is exactly what you saw, but yeah, the emotional like attachment to that backstory wasn't quite there.
I will say that the backstory was I agree with you there, but I do feel like her introduction is one of the best introductions to a new character. Like her landing, and she's like, "He's mine," and you're like, "Oh shit!" Like this is this warrior.
She's like,
and then she's all drunk, and she just like
inebriated.
falls off the platform that she's walking down. And you're like, "What?" Like this is how you're introducing a character, and I think like
there's a bunch of savages out there. And you're like trying to like, no, I got this. He's absolutely mine. Don't. And they're like, what?
Yeah.
Are you looking at?
Yeah, are you? What's going on? So I do think like her introduction was really funny and really well. I feel like actually all new characters in this movie had really good introductions.
Jeff Goldblum was hilarious.
His was hilarious. Like and what was the rock monster's name?
KotOR.
Yeah, his like introduction was like super.
Even
funny.
how his interaction in the ending with Loki and how that plays out. Yeah. It's like. That's just his personality. That wasn't meant to happen at all, but because he's like so nonchalant about everything, he's like, "We're about to go on a big ship," and like,
so I will defeat the champion. That's what Doug said. Bye, new Doug.
Like you're gonna die, but bye.
Bye. So it's just like it was almost kind of cool, and I know like reading the IMDb facts, like that's what he wanted. He wanted like a bigger monster, but to show like he had like a kind soul kind of thing, which I feel like just took it away because you're like, here's this like. Dude, he said he's leading a rebellion, and it, like, totally failed, and he just seemed super nice. And you're almost like, how could someone this nice, like, even one be in this gladiator situation? That is one thing I wish I saw, like, him in the gladiator. I wish they would have had a pre-fight with him or something.
I wish I would have seen a pre-fight with the Hulk, and him just destroy some, like, other beast that wasn't still up to power with him. But
it would have kind of ruined the reveal, even though we already knew who it was going to be.
Yeah, that is true. I get what you're saying there. But in the reveal... With Thor and him, finally get to see Thor break out his lightning, break out the thunder.
So, on top of that, so I feel like you have a really amazing, like, thing.
He was cheated. He would have won.
Oh, totally.
Oh, yeah.
But I think the introduction there was awesome because I was reading up, and it actually, during one of their Make-A-Wish Foundation, one of the kids had mentioned, like, oh, when the Hulk comes in, you should say, like, oh, it's a friend from work. And so they kept that and used it, which I thought was pretty cool.
That's why.
And so I thought, like, that's a really good, like, introduction with that. But also, I think, like, we can't overlook Loki's reaction to the Hulk coming in. Like, because at this point, at this point, Loki's all, like, high on his hog. He's like, yeah, and then he sees the Hulk, and he's like, I got it. Like, and he's freaking out at first. And he's just, like, he goes from kind of, like, that conniving look on his face to, like, oh, shit, I'm really scared.
I think the best line, though, has to be the, like, Loki turned into a snake, and he knew that I liked snakes. So when I came up to him, turned back to him, and went, bah! And he stabbed me, and went, it's me!
And then it goes back to Loki, and he's just smiling, like, laughing. Which, it makes you wonder, do you think that was one of those improv moments, or do you think that was totally scripted?
I feel like that was probably improv.
Yeah, so do I, because I feel, and that's one of those scenes, like, again, going back, watching it, you can see, like, people start, like, smiling, and you can see, like, they're about to break, and it cuts to another scene, like... So one of the ones I saw, too, was when he's sitting next to the Hulk, and he's like, Hulk is like fire, and Thor like water. And he's like, no, we're both like fire. He's like, yes, but Hulk is smoldering fire. And you see, like, Chris Hemsworth, he smiles, and then he starts to lose it, and it pans over to, like, something else. And it's just, like, you gotta love the comical moments throughout, like, and I feel like this movie, what it does good, is you have serious moments.
Yes.
But, like, so I don't feel like the comedy takes away from the seriousness, which... You get in some movies, you know, how it's just like...
It overwhelms it, and then it loses, like, the stakes. And
exactly. And I don't feel like this movie did... I don't know how they pulled it off or what they did different, but it's like they can go from a comical moment to a serious moment back to a comical moment just like that, and it flows, and it just feels natural, and it doesn't feel... And I mean, that may be part of it's just all improv. It's just like a natural flow to it,
a
not
flow
like a
of
scripted.
the moment. Because even
Mhm.
like Joss Whedon says, like the best thing you can do in a dramatic film is just to inject a little comedy, even like in the life and death situation.
Oh, absolutely. And I think like again,
it brings a humanness to the story.
Absolutely.
It brings like
And I feel like Loki too. I like in most of these movies, the bad guys come and go, right? And Loki's been the one that stayed. And
and that actually brings up, I would say, the next thing. I feel like overall, Hela's just another forgettable Marvel villain in the end. Loki, I feel like, is the only one who continues to be a memorable villain. In fact, he was so memorable, he was essentially the villain 2 times.
Yeah.
And then keeps coming back and is like this sort of like anti-hero kind of there, but also always is backstabbing.
He's like the anti-Avenger almost. That's
now,
kind of
hopefully Thanos will be a memorable one, but like...
I think Hela served her purpose for this film. I don't see like her going beyond that, but for
I'm
this
not
film...
saying, but I'm saying, like, just in
like,
general,
stakes,
it was just, again, I have this
she
perception
did
of
take
her,
out
of that whole
Thor's
thing being...
eyeball.
and
Just
his
saying.
hammer.
Just saying.
Well, I mean, she left him scarred, but...
Yeah, but that's scarred for him moving forward.
Yeah, I feel like she... Because I do
But
feel
it
like she
also
doesn't fit in the
allowed him-
Avengers world, so there's no way she can go on. But I do feel like she
I think
didn't...
you're misinterpreting what I meant about this.
Wait, where?
I didn't
No.
say carry on at all.
No, she's... He's
No,
saying,
I'm
like,
just saying, like, I get, like, she is a forgettable one, but I think she's not the focus on this one.
I don't feel like forgettable... Because, like, for me, I'm gonna... Like, that's the person that, 1, destroyed the hammer, destroyed Mjolnir, and then 2, like, beat up Thor so much, like, took
Some
out
old
his
family
eye,
drama.
like, all this, like... So I don't think... I mean, I couldn't even tell you the name of the dude from the second one. I know he's an elf. A white elf or dark elf.
I would,
No,
well,
yeah.
yeah. Well,
See,
let's
so
compare
it's
it to
like,
our
I can't-
other Marvel movies, though. Like,
So I can't remember
I can't
that.
really remember.
Like, I'll remember
Mandarin
Hela.
wasn't that great for Iron Man 3.
Yeah.
Civil
was
War
it-
was
was
great
Flash
for
was
the
the
third
second one.
cap.
Well, but do you remember what the actual villain's name is?
For which one?
For Civil War? The guy who's like orchestrating it all.
Not Milo, but
Baron Zemo, I believe.
Zemo, yeah.
No.
But
So-
like,
Basilius for Doctor
yeah, but
Strange.
see, he's forgettable in the sense that he's a catalyst just to start this huge. Like he's the guy on the chessboard. You know, this Avenger against this Avenger, and I'm gonna make this all set it up. But with Hela, she almost forces like old family drama to be dealt with prior to.
Well, so then if
prior to,
that's your
like-
argument for Hela, why is Zemo different? If he's the one who basically
because
forces this
because
break.
Thor no longer has Asgard anymore. He does have to establish himself.
Well, the Avengers get broken up after Civil War.
Yeah, but I mean, Thor always had Asgard to go back for. Like,
I
But
think he was
Asgard is
never-
where the people are.
what?
No, but here's the
Well,
thing.
that's what he learns.
Here's
it's a
the thing.
transition for him moving
And that's
forward.
where I feel like it goes back to saying the Hela story wasn't. I think it was her story was big enough.
served
We're
a
not
purpose.
gonna forget her name. Like we're gonna forget
It
that.
served a
dude's name.
purpose for Thor's storyline with Asgard
But I
and
guess
everything. But
I'm
moving
not even
forward with the
necessarily-
MCU, it doesn't have as high a stake. But it sets him on a course to where at the end he encounters.
I think she took
Shit.
enough away from what we know of Thor to.
Forgettable is, I guess, maybe not quite the right word either.
Impact.
Because I'm not just saying
I don't want to say she's forgettable,
forgetting
but I
her
think she
name, 'cause,
serves
like,
a certain
I would
purpose.
argue, honestly, that like Ra's al Ghul is a forgettable villain in the Batman, the Dark Knight stuff.
I can
And yet
see
he
that.
has a very big role in who Batman is.
No, that's true.
But he is a forgettable villain overall, I feel like. And I would argue that Bane kind of is too, but
Yeah, he didn't.
it really
it's hard
is
to
only
follow
the Joker, right?
too, though. It's hard
and
to follow
that's
Joker.
what I'm saying here is you
Yeah.
have Loki, and then
Yeah.
yes, I'm not saying that Hela's at the same level as Caecilius, who's just a drone for Dormammu, but even Dormammu's basically pointless, or
I think Loki was meant to be a
Aldrich
constant,
Killian, or
though,
any
right?
of these
Yeah.
pointless people. But I'm just saying that she's not going to be this person. Like, okay, yeah, she destroyed his hammer, she took his eye, but
And
She literally frames how he goes moving forward into dealing with
put it-
Infinity War.
but
Can I put it
arguably
this way
most
though?
should.
No, I know.
Can I put it this way though? Is like
But, I mean,
Caecilius kills the Ancient One, but
okay,
he's
hold on.
forgettable.
Hold on. Can I put it this way?
You don't like her as a villain. I get that.
I know,
but-
I like her as a villain. I'm just saying she doesn't. She's just another kind of
Can I put it? Wait.
That is totally portrayed with the eternal flame, and
This is how it feels trying to talk to you half the time. This was literally 10 minutes ago.
No, this is great. We're having dissension today.
No.
I was just.
So here's my thing, though: is Loki? I feel was written in that way. Is Hela someone you really want to be like that?
Hela was a surprise.
See,
but
so
like, oh, they had a long
but that's
lost
what I'm
sister
saying is we already have.
I don't think the Joker is in one movie.
But that's because Heath Ledger
Joker
died.
is iconic,
Yes.
though. Joker was iconic.
Joker would have been in the other
Ledger.
movie, and it stated
And
if he
Ledger
wouldn't
just
have
took it
died.
to
I
another
know.
level, but like Hela is not
She's not that character.
it's not a name you bring up when we're doing a draft on like villains we want to have on our lineup. You know what I mean? Like she is way at the bottom, but she serves a very serviceable purpose to like how she impacts Thor and Asgard moving forward, because he can't go back to his safe haven anymore. That was kind of
Red Skull very much has a big impact on Captain America, but I still feel like his at least portrayal in the Marvel universe
You rank him higher?
is boring.
Oh,
He's just kind of there.
Yeah, I thought he was always going to come back at some point too,
but see, and I would rank Hela higher than I would rank Red Skull, because I do think the Red Skull, and I actually had a lot of problems with the Captain America one. I didn't like I thought Cap 1...
I thought it was the weakest introduction for any of the major
Yeah, and I'd agree with that. I just feel like they focused more on drama than they did really building him up, and the Red Skull just kind of disappearing and, oh, what's going on? And so, I don't really like that, and I don't like... I feel like in the comics I liked Red Skull. He's such a bigger part in Cap, and in this they just kind of write it off like it's...
And I think every character, even the weakest ones, leave the characters with an impact and with growth. I mean, that's what they should be doing, because you have, like, Obadiah in the first Iron Man who...
True.
The Ironmonger.
Like...
Yeah.
But in the end, he makes Tony who he is and helps him shape who Tony is going forward, and you have...
I think,
I don't know. I just...
Well, and I think, like, if you look at Loki, I feel like Loki's character was written in with room to grow. Like, if you looked at Loki, like, and especially how he kind of changes... If you look at Hela, like, her mindset was never changing. Obadiah, his mindset was not changing. And I feel like Loki was written in with the ability for change.
Maybe in the Avengers, because if...
He's a survivalist, too, though.
My guess is
he'll change based on...
And that's what I'm saying. There's no other
very
villains
clearly
that way.
Made to be the villain for Avengers, but I wonder if he had not been as popular, if they would have continued on, or if they just would have had him been beat and then gone away and not had the story of Thor 2 the way it was with him fighting alongside and stuff. And I think that's because so many people liked that, because
he was initially the comic relief more so.
Because there's no way that, as much as they have planned, there's no way they said, hey, Loki's going to be so popular when we first introduce him that we're going to have him three movies that he's in from now be like a sort of good guy, and then next time he's going to come back again, and like there's no way they had thought all of that out.
Right.
No, and I did think, and I think that comes back to that chemistry that Hiddleston? That he brought to the character and everything that went with it. And I do agree. I don't think Loki was originally introduced in Thor 1, and then like they had planning to have him. I mean, because he is the villain in Avengers, but it's still Thanos. Like, because Thanos is like the behind the player, like doing everything, you know. And I do think at that point it's in Avengers.
That's like saying that Darth Vader's not the villain because Darth Sidious was behind it all, really.
Well, no, and that's what I'm saying. Like, that was setting up Thanos, but
villain serves as catalyst for other bigger ones. That
exactly.
Are be focused on,
he was a pawn being used, and I do think I agree with you. In Avengers 1 was his moment where I think people said, "We like this," and kind of, I guess if you say the polls went up on him, and they're like, "Okay, we're bringing him back." And then I think every other time he appeared, he didn't like die out. People weren't like, okay, you're using him too much. People still liked him and wanted it. So it's like, okay.
I think a lot of people like him more than Thor, honestly.
Ooh. I mean, probably. I mean, he's a good counter to Thor. Even though I do feel that in this movie, Thor kind of...
It's his show.
Thor rises above Loki, even to the point where like Loki tries to screw him over again, and he's like, we've done this too much. And he's like, we've done this too much. And I think that shows the growth of Thor, saying that like Loki's tricks aren't going to work anymore on him. And we're past that, and he pretty much tells him like, you need to grow up. You can be so much more, or you can stay on this planet and stay exactly the same, being the god of tricks. And he's like, because that's all you're going to be in the route you're taking. And I think it's a nice thing, because I do think if they would have done the same thing in this movie, it would have been, okay, like, Loki's just doing the same shit. And I think they do a good job at, like, shutting that down and saying, okay, you're either rising or you're staying and you're out. And Loki kind of, I think, makes that choice where he's like, I'm done. Like, and we see that at the end when, like, because the whole movie, like, Thor throws stuff at, like, his little hologram thing. And at the end, he's like, I'd even give you a hug if you're here. And he, like, catches the thing he throws, he's like, I am here. And I think, like, and that's what I think I meant by, like, growth with the character, is I still felt like Loki, to the point, had growth to be, he could make change, to where most villains you can't, like, they're already set in that path, and it's like, there's no changing, there's no doing anything different with them.
They're rigid in their ways. Yeah,
I guess changes. Maybe the other part, not to go too much more into the fact that I find hella underwhelming overall, is I guess the other, or the better way maybe to put it as I think about it, is that most villains are, like you said, are written with a very central point of, I'm going to conquer the Earth, or I'm going to conquer Asgard, and that's it. We don't have a real motivation why. There's not really any, whatever motivation they give them usually is pretty weak, and it's just kind of like, they're there clearly for one movie, and in the end, regardless of what they do to the character, they're going to lose, period. Like, that's
exactly, you can say the same thing about Ego.
I don't think he was very
lovable either. I think he almost, like, kind of was the letdown part of the Guardians too.
No, and I agree with that.
Just like it's interesting story and character, but like in terms of a villain that they actually had to overcome and conquer, like I feel like Hela was way better than him, just in terms of the stakes at play for those major characters. Like Thor's losing his hammer, he's losing Asgard, like
all this
Odin's
stuff.
Dead. He has to do that, and then for the Guardians, like. I would argue
really
Thor is a better film in terms of Marvel
absolutely
for the year.
And I do agree, and I feel like
you guys would have to rate it with Spider-Man, because I haven't seen that one yet.
Still haven't seen it. Huh?
Still haven't seen it. I'll probably see it.
Spider-Man's good, but Thor blows it away.
I'll see it before.
Spider-Man was better than I thought, but Thor's. I feel like Thor's.
It's also hard because they're two. In a way, they're two different genres, even though they're superhero movies.
True.
Oh yeah, I mean,
it's like I would say that kind of Spider-Man is more grounded in what a typical superhero movie is, with added comedy, whereas this is like almost more of a comedy with superhero elements.
Yeah. And it was done. Yeah, so I don't know. I agree with that.
What did you guys like think of Odin's Lair, the ending, and how it sets up with Infinity Wars, and the potential that whatever Loki could have potentially taken down there, besides the internal flame.
Clearly he took the Tesseract, because there's no other way he gets back. I mean, they used the Tesseract to travel before, he uses it to travel that time. And we kind of needed the Infinity Stone, so...
Yeah, and I do think it is funny, because we do get the thing of Hela going through, because we saw the gauntlet in the first one, and everyone's like, oh, the gauntlet's there, but then, like, we see Thanos with it, and, like, the gauntlet in Odin's thing has all the Infinity Stones, and so when Hela's going through, she's like, fake, and knocks it over, and, like, she's going through, like, just pointing, like, all this, like, stuff that we thought was so cool in the past movies, like, and just pretty much just, to me, like, just saying it's nothing.
She doesn't give a
like,
shit.
She's like, stupid, like, I thought you would be bigger, like, just going through and tearing everything to pieces.
I will say, if the whole reason of Thor going to Surtur's lair earlier was to, like, stop Ragnarok, it's a very stupid move to say, hey, here's the eternal flame, I'm going to put his crown right here.
Yeah,
I mean, it was convenient for plot, but...
Yeah, no, for sure.
No, and I mean, well, and here's a thought, too. The fact that Hela...
Also, since we've seen that Odin's vault is very easy to get into.
Yeah, no joke. Well, I mean, yeah.
Well, and here's the thing, like, how Hela is able to raise the dead? Do you think any of that will be brought back, at least plot-wise, or how she does it in Infinity Wars?
No, God, no.
You don't think so?
No, she's dead.
Okay. Because technically in, like, the comic books, people die but are brought back to life.
She's forgettable in the sense that she won't be coming back.
Yeah. So, because I'm still
you say in the comic books, but technically
if we're just focusing on
Rhodey should be dead.
Yeah.
I know. Like, what's he gonna really contribute anymore? Come on. Like,
just... And I would say that's one of those things where, it's about Civil War, but, like, if he had died, in some ways, that's like that at least. I think I said this before. Is like
Yeah, I
that
think you did.
adds an extra impact
Right.
other than just the Avengers kind of breaking up. It's like not only did it break up, but there was literally like
Somebody
a
died,
casualty.
and that was
Who?
like
If
Rhodes.
Rhodey had actually died
yeah.
instead of just losing his legs, but then
Yeah, maybe
because of the
they would've
technology, he'll
understand
be
the
able to
stakes
walk
more.
again or whatever.
Well, he'll be back to normal in no time.
I mean, well, and I think I'll tell you guys what, and I know this may sound kind of stupid, but just like I feel like where every Marvel movie that comes out, we're introducing more and more characters, you know, to where like
Expanding the
when
universe.
like when we come to Infinity War, like I guess in the beginning I just thought like, oh, we have these Avengers, they're all going to Infinity War, but now there are so many people,
and that's
And
the
we're only
biggest
adding
concern.
more.
yeah, and
That's
we're
the
only
big-
adding
That's
more.
the biggest concern. That is like monumental.
Like, that
Obviously,
is
because
you have two
There's
parts,
only
but
out of the main characters, and that's including like main sidekicks. One character has died and stayed dead, and that's Quicksilver.
yeah, and you know what? Fox has him, and we'll talk about something
Oh,
else.
yeah,
yeah,
that
yeah,
in a second.
Well, yeah.
And
But,
so
yeah, I mean, because
now
my argument was that Fox had him
'cause
too,
you have-
so it was like we can just
you
kill him
have
off.
Falcon and you have Winter Soldier and you have War Machine, who are all still fighting alongside them.
Right, but there
and
are
soon we're
secondary
gonna-
characters compared to
Soon
them,
we're gonna
obviously.
have Wasp.
Yeah,
Yeah,
as
Ant-Man,
part of it.
That's
you
true
have
too.
all the people from
So-
Thor now, so you have Valkyrie. You have
Theoretically, Sif, or we know Sif is still alive because Kevin Feige, I don't know how to say his last
I
name.
think that's.
But
good,
he
yeah.
came out because Jamie Alexander was busy with her own show. That's why Sif is not in it at all. And he came out and just said, "Oh, she's on a mission." So that's the like main Marvel producer
Set
who
it
said that. So therefore, it's an official thing.
So she could come back. So and then you
And
have,
you have
like
Captain Marvel coming too.
Captain
Yeah.
Marvel, but you even have like what is the rock guy Krog or
Korg.
Like he could technically.
Well,
I mean,
he was
he's
on the
going,
ship.
Yeah, he's going to Earth back with them. I mean,
Yeah, but they're intercepted with Loki,
by-
Thor, Hulk, and
Valkyrie.
Valkyrie, and then
Korg,
them
and
like.
So they're all tied together, moving forward into.
Well, and then you look at Guardians of the Galaxy. We just got the one.
They've got
new-
Mantis is with them now.
Mantis
Yeah.
is a new one, and then and then
We're
Black
talking
Panther.
about even
Black
the other
Panther,
guy-
yeah, we
Oh,
might see
yes,
like
okay.
his. I don't know what his sidekicks.
Can we
name
talk
is.
about that trailer? Holy
You're excited
shoot.
about that.
I am super excited.
Well, and
to
I
see
think
that movie.
I don't know if we've talked about it here or not,
very briefly,
but
I think.
especially since the final Infinity Stone was not in Ragnarok,
Right.
it makes sense to me that it's in Wakanda. And that's how they've got so
Yeah.
powerful
So
as
that's
they've
what-
used that. Especially if it is the Soul Stone, that would explain how like the whole Black Panther thing works. Of them passing,
I didn't
they've used
think
that stone and figured out how to like pass the like memories or whatever down through them.
I didn't think about that. Holy moly.
So I mean, yeah, I just it's like what is this movie? And that's why I feel like they almost have to break it into. No, we had talked about it at the end of Thor. You see Thanos' ship come up, and so
So that is Thanos' ship, just
Yes,
to
it
clarify.
is. And
Okay,
so
because
we
I
were-
was worried that
I
might
think
be
it was
the
Kevin
Guardians.
Feige said it
Oh, he
was.
did say it
Yeah.
was. Okay.
Or
And-
Taiki Watiti, one of the guys.
so and we
Korg.
were talking like
Korg, yes.
In another round.
I wonder if like
The human Korg.
Yeah.
because that makes I know we're talking about this. It makes you think like is the vast majority of
feel like it's
Infinity
such a
Wars
bold move,
not
too.
in Earth, like it's all in space,
Well,
and then
like,
you
part
could
one
almost
is
cut it
more-
in half. Like
And
half
again,
the Avengers
like-
are in this, and
The only reason I think that can't necessarily be the case is because we know that a lot of the Avengers are fighting, and most of the Avengers, to me, aren't
They're divided
helpful
right
in
now.
space.
No, and they're
Well, but
all
we know,
divided right now.
but we know
anyway.
from the actual, like set pictures and stuff that they're all there,
Mm-hmm.
and we
Okay.
still haven't seen the trailer for it, which is even though they released a trailer
Well, it was
or
a
a
leak
tease
from the Comic-Con, but
and
even
they
that,
had the picture.
if you've
of
seen
it.
it, it's kind of blurry, but doesn't reveal a whole
Well,
lot.
but there's also the poster, but it just I'm saying it has all of the characters, and
Mm-hmm.
so it seems weird if everything's going on in space. Like, what's Black Widow gonna do in space? What's honestly,
and
what's
that's probably why
Black
they have
Panther gonna
Thor
do?
and Hulk in. Like, I think it's
Right,
a bold
right.
choice to have Thor and Hulk encounter Thanos' ship so soon, especially if that's
'Cause
what's
they're
going to
their
happen.
strongest,
But at the same
almost.
time, that almost makes sense because they would probably be the ones most valuable in space or in like other
Other
planets,
planets.
maybe. You know,
And I know,
other
like,
than the Guardians, of course.
we had
but-
talked about too the fact that Captain Marvel and Ant-Man and the Wasp are coming out between the movies.
Yes.
So like story
and Black
wise,
Panther's the last one prior to part one.
yeah. So like story wise, how are we having like because the
How
Wasp
is it that
and
all going to be
Ant-Man,
connected?
yeah, Wasp and Ant-Man, how are they gonna like if Thanos is attacking the world, how are they doing?
I think
the
the
movie?
argument is like certain Avengers will have to die in part one. And then you bring in Ant-Man and Wasp, you bring in Captain Marvel. Somehow you tie those in, move into part 2 is my guess.
I don't know for sure if Ant-Man is officially a part of part 1, because that...
And it might not be. That would actually make sense of why they would have his sequel after the fact. But then you make you wonder about timelines, right? Because then, like...
It sounds weird, him fighting a villain.
No, what would you contribute?
Plus, he's in Wakanda, remember? With all the other people. So how...
we have Spider-Man, who, like, how is he helpful in space?
Well,
and... But technically isn't... Because Ant-Man got thrown in prison with the rest of them, and then... Rogers came and saved them all and brought him back to Wakanda. So technically, the last time we saw Ant-Man, he was in Wakanda. Mm-hmm. Technically. So, like, how is he getting back with the Wasp? Like, what's going on there?
It's just the timelines are all. It's really interesting.
Okay, they have Scott Lang / Ant-Man listed. So
what's Peter Dinklage doing?
I don't. He doesn't have a listed thing. But yeah, you have Pepper Potts listed as a person.
Yeah, I mean, so they're bringing
obviously Doctor Strange. Of course, he'd be helpful. Mm-hmm. Yeah, really, you have Maria Hill listed.
Yeah, but space...
Hawkeye.
Like, at what point do these elements intersect? When do they come to Earth? And then, they've been building up Thanos forever. Yeah. You want to talk about forgettable villains. Do you think Thanos can be as formidable against all of these Avengers?
Especially because I think he's going to kill some of them, so he's going to be...
And when does he get the gauntlet?
Well, so, and my thing is, too, so for Vision, the stone is on his head. So does that mean eventually he needs that? Does that mean Vision dies?
Yeah, some man.
And this is one thing I thought, too, is maybe the opening scene or whatever is a battle between Thanos and the Asgardians, and he wins and takes the Tesseract. But he doesn't kill them. Maybe he leaves them stranded there or something. The Guardians get them, and that's how we get to Earth. Is he beats them and he takes the Infinity Stone. And
Thanos does what Hela did. He just flips the thing, gets the Earth. No, I'm just kidding.
Right.
But
So no, I'm curious. Like at that point though, like if they started that off and he kills those people, like that means that's the rest of the Asgardians right there.
He's not gonna kill them.
You don't think so? Or enslave them, I guess, maybe. He could enslave them.
Which Avengers are actually aware of Thanos? Are all of them aware?
I don't think anyone's aware of Thanos.
And that's where...
Because I would say
Guardians are the only ones, I think.
And are they aware of him, though?
Yeah, because Nebula and...
Yeah, that's right.
They're aware of them, but they're not aware of the other Avengers.
But they're also not aware of his current plan. Right?
Yeah, exactly, too. They just think he's an evil dictator.
Unless Nebula... I wonder
if Nebula they want to kill him
more.
Anyway.
Nebula's another one who got added to the list.
Yeah, you're right. So...
and it's going to be so big, but I feel like you can't fit all that in one movie. So that's why I feel like some of them can't be
how are they intersecting?
How long is the first one?
It's at least 2.5, I think, but it might be even more.
I hope they break. I hope they go to 3. I hope they go to 3.
They don't have a listed one on here, at least.
I want that big of a movie. I want 3 hours. That's all I'm saying.
2:45 I can do.
Well, I feel like, again, just like I said...
Because you have 2 parts still.
Yeah, I want both of them to be that long.
3 hours?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'd be
because you have so much. I don't want anything to be rushed.
Oh yeah, this is their baby. This is their biggest project.
So, and I don't know,
it's Disney's, but we took talk about Disney. I mean, they have Star Wars, they have Marvel.
Maybe soon 20th or 21st Century Fox.
Oh my gosh! Can we call them a monopoly? That Pixar.
Dude, could you imagine them sealing that deal before?
Because they also own ESPN and stuff like that,
and ABC.
But what if they do get that? Then we could actually maybe see Hugh Jackman in an Avengers movie.
He said he would come back if he potentially.
Really?
Yeah, that was the only thing that drew him back. Was like, I always wanted to suit up with them. You know.
Yeah,
but I don't know. It would be cool if. And I feel like Fox just should.
How does that affect Deadpool, X-Men, Fantastic Four?
They're going to be better movies.
Honestly, I think it
you can do crossovers. Them. No, yeah, absolutely.
Just like it helped Sony to finally give up the reins a little bit with
yes, and they're still profiting too. But now it's a viable project.
If they're buying 20th or 21st Century Fox, it's not like suddenly the Deadpool crew is suddenly gone. It's they're overlooking it.
They're overlooking it, and then could they even tie it forward with future stuff.
Probably the stuff that's currently going on would never be tied in.
No, I'm not saying that way,
but
because
it would be cool if
it'd be like another spin-off in the future.
And that would be cool going forward if after Infinity War, like I've said it before, I think they need to
Marvel
end that
chapter's
story there.
Yeah, I agree.
And then if they wanted to go farther, maybe they could do some kind of X-Men and Avengers storyline.
A different universe almost, you know?
Well, and I feel like that's why we're going to see characters get killed off, because they've been in it so long. And I feel like they still have projects for some of these other characters, so they're not going to kill them
and that
off.
was one of...
So the ones that are done are going to get killed off.
I was talking to a friend of mine. He was saying, Chris Evans doesn't have a contract beyond, like...
Infinity War.
Yeah. So, moving forward...
he's dead.
And probably even, Iron Man.
Well, I know at one point they had said they wanted to treat Iron Man like the 007s.
But I don't want them to do that.
Yeah, and even if they did, I don't think that would tie into this universe if they did do that moving forward, just casting a different Tony Stark.
Because, I mean, even with 007, I don't think of it that way. To me, each one is their own story. I don't care what they say. It doesn't tie together.
Much. Yeah, I can see that. Each one's like its own mission. Almost.
And in this case, it doesn't. It isn't the case. But like, The Dark Knight Rises, like, is its own thing. It doesn't tie into the rest. But like, there's no way that even if they said it did, it would to me.
You mean into
Ben Affleck?
Oh yeah, no. Are they actually saying that still?
It doesn't.
No. Okay. I know at one point they were thinking of doing that, but yeah. So I don't know. I think Marvel is gonna have to. I mean, I'm not sure they have a plan, but I think it has to be gone about very, very strategically.
I was a little unclear of if they're all wrapping up after this, or if there is a phase 4 planned.
I mean, because it makes you think like the Thor we just saw.
the possibilities are still out there. But
in the Thor we just saw, if they could do another movie like that, like after all this, it's like totally down. Like, I'm not dead with that character. Like, that revived it for me. Like, Iron Man, I couldn't see another Iron Man standalone. I just don't think it works.
It'd have to be with a new actor. And it's almost like, do you even go there right now?
And I don't... Well, and I just feel like Iron Man's done so much.
He still has to appear a couple more times.
Well, and that's what Captain America, they couldn't just do his own movie. They had to bring pretty much...
Yeah, and if they even do that, you can have Winter Soldier be Captain America moving forward. Like, there's different things they could do, but like,
I would
at what
rather
point do you wrap it all up?
Choose to like reboot everything if they're gonna do that.
Yeah, almost, yeah.
Because I don't...
How are you gonna be what you've already done, though? It's the same as the Dark Knight
because
movies.
This all ties in, but
regardless of whether,
you
a set reboot or try to continue, how are you going to beat Infinity War? Assuming it goes
that's why they're even considering, like, DC. They're considering doing a young Joker movie. Like, they're just trying to offer a different perspective on how... Yeah. And, technically we don't know how he originates.
I know it's Disney,
but... I mean, I'm just like, are you...
I know it's Disney and they like money.
There is another Disney thing we could talk about.
But do you think it's possible that they're just going in and then, like, got all the money they could out of this, did the best, and then after Infinity War Part 2, they just pull out?
Oh, God, no. Look at...
Yeah.
You want to talk about Disney and moving forward with Star Wars after this one?
I was about to bring up. A brand new trilogy not tied to the Skywalkers at all.
Really?
Being developed by Rian Johnson.
The guy who is doing Last Jedi.
The one that's about to come out. And they even offered him initially to do episode 9, but moving forward, they kind of tied that up, and then they just decided to bring J.J. Abrams back. But moving forward,
So where
new
is
Star
it
Wars trilogy
in the same universe, or in the same time?
We have no information other than it doesn't have to do with the Skywalker saga.
Right. Because so far, the 9 films that will come out, they all envelop, the Skywalker storyline.
We've talked about this before. I'm not excited for the Han Solo one or any of that. And this is not supposed to be a spin-off or anything. This is
not a spin-off.
100% new story.
Yeah.
That's canon. So I personally would like to see, especially since I've been playing Knights of the Old Republic, I want to see older stuff.
That's what's so awesome is, like, we don't know yet, but the universe is so vast. You can literally... And I think the guy they have doing it is a great filmmaker.
What else has he done?
Rian Johnson. So he directed a couple... He kind of went up the Hollywood ladder, as they say, so to speak, in terms of director. He directed a couple episodes of Breaking Bad. He directed Brick with Joseph Gordon-Levitt, 2005. These are indies. And then he also did Looper with...
I like that.
So he kind of has a good approach to, like, certain sci-fi elements, and I think he's a creative genius moving forward. Like, he's he's kind of like what Joss Whedon was for the first couple of Avengers for Star Wars. This next Star Wars new trilogy could be, in my opinion.
Dang.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's intense.
So in essence to your question about asking like would they pull out or would they like still do new stuff, I absolutely think they would
There's
still
so
do
many
new stuff.
yeah,
and
so
then they
many
can explore new
characters.
things. And especially if you're having the Fox guys coming over with X-Men and you know, Fantastic Four and all those other ones.
It opens up so much more you can do.
Yeah, the potential. You can even have like Avengers versus X-Men in a totally separate universe, or like however big it gets, you know. The possibilities for like the Star Wars universe is the same thing with the Marvel Avengers. Like,
I will say I think there is a extent of it going too far because there's way too many Marvel-based TV shows right now that
well,
I
the
just don't care
superhero
about.
genre is highly saturated right now.
Yeah, I guess it doesn't even. It's not just Marvel.
No, it's
they're putting out
all
a lot,
together,
but-
all together.
Because what at this point we have.
So, at what point do audiences get overwhelmed with that and start tuning out?
Because I mean, Agents of Shield, I feel like you're tuning out.
You've got
on.
Agents of Shield. You've got Inhumans, which was
No
not
one's
received
watching.
very well. You've got The Gifted coming out.
Oh,
You've
yeah.
got.
That's X-Men, right?
Yes.
There's some other new one that's coming out too.
Well, I know the Punisher's getting a show.
But I'm actually looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think the Netflix
But that again,
ones
that's
are done.
separate because it's Netflix.
Defenders too, right?
Defenders wasn't great.
No, I know, but I'm just saying.
Arrow,
There's a lot of
Flash, Defenders of the
Supergirl,
Galaxy, or
everything
whatever they're
you
called.
can think of now.
What's Defenders of the Galaxy?
Or Defenders of Tomorrow.
Oh,
What are they calling it? Do you know?
bullshit.
It's basically it's the like CW version of all of those characters, Supergirl and stuff all coming together. DC's Legends of Tomorrow, that's what it's called.
Oh, okay.
That's stupid.
Yeah, so I mean that's the thing too is, but
I've never watched it.
even if I feel like Marvel is closing out certain elements. You know, obviously with you know, Thor 3, we'd had Iron Man 3 years and years ago. Civil War more recently. I think they will close it out. I almost think they should because, you know, close it out, give it some time, and then reboot with all these new other avenues you can explore, you know? Because this is such a great universe and they have done such a marvelous job in terms of how they've set it up. Pun intended. No, but how they've set it up and like the quality of film, like it's hard to be disappointed in certain superhero movies. You're kind of ranking them like 1A, 1B, or at least that's how I feel. But in terms of like Marvel versus DC, obviously the quality of film is just
Marvel's way
The
better.
initial reviews for Justice League are actually saying it's a good movie. Obviously, I'm not going to see it.
you're not gonna see it at all.
I'll see it.
Okay.
I still haven't seen Wonder Woman though, and I really want to see that one.
And that one's great. They should have started with.
It's
Dylan and I
just-
were saying this. They should have started with Wonder Woman prior to even doing Batman versus Superman. If they did that, but
Yeah,
Well, it
made
would've
more
made sense.
Yeah.
none of it makes sense. But yeah, I had read that. You know, I heard the story was a mess, but the superheroes were great.
Really?
That's what I had heard.
The only thing I had heard was
But that was the only
It's a
thing
Zack Snyder
that it had
film. The stories are
positive-
always kind
Well,
of a mess.
Joss Whedon tied that thing all together too.
Well, that's
It
probably
has
why it's better.
positive reviews.
Well, we'll
Let's
see.
just
We'll
say
see.
it
We'll
that
see.
way.
Yeah. Positive review. That thing's gonna make a ton of money regardless. Like, to be honest,
Do you
but
think
is it actually
do you
gonna
think
be
it beats
quality?
Thor?
It's gonna
Do you
be
think
good.
it beats Thor's
I think
numbers?
it does because
Well,
it is.
dude, Thor's already over half
that
a
is the
billion
thing.
worldwide already.
Oh, that high?
Oh,
I knew that
worldwide already.
it had
Are they breaking
outperformed.
records?
It
I don't know.
outperformed Spider-Man, but it did not outperform Guardians, or maybe it's the other way around. It was not the highest grossing Marvel so far
of the year. Well, it's so early
far.
still.
For opening weekend at least.
Okay. They actually opened in global markets prior to opening here.
I
so
know
it
it's
will
the
be
number one
interesting to
movie
see-
in the world right now.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how its entire box office run does in comparison to the other two. And then I'm also very curious to see how, you know, box office wise Black Panther will do. Like, it sold me on the trailer. I'm stoked to see it. But
It
I
is
don't know if it's
interesting
going to
that
hit
they're-
every genre of audience for, like, Marvel superhero films.
Yeah.
It kind of has a different vibe
I think
to
we
it.
might have said this. This is the hard part. Is I don't remember what conversations we've had.
It's okay if we
off
have to
or
hash
on,
it out
like,
again.
I think it's interesting that they chose to have a separate bad guy other than Andy Serkis, because I was under the impression that he was the bad guy, and then in the second trailer, there's another guy who has a Black Panther
A
outfit,
Black Fantasy, yeah.
which I have a feeling it's going to be like, oh, this is your brother or something.
Yeah,
like
probably.
that.
It was
But,
unclear, but I was like Brotherhood or somebody from the
Somehow
same
he's
culture
able to
or
get it,
tribe. Yeah,
so-
like
But
another warrior.
I had this impression, I guess, that Andy Serkis was supposed to be like the big bad guy in that kind
Well,
of.
is he a catalyst to a different bad guy?
I think it makes.
My guess is he's
sense.
like the one backing him. But
In some, yeah, maybe.
I think it makes sense because I don't think Andy Serkis would have been a good bad guy for the Black Panther.
That guy's pretty amazing, huh?
the
Yeah,
only
he
two
is.
white guys on the poster are him and Martin Freeman. I'm pretty sure. So
Yeah, no. So I'm excited about that one.
But that's
That
one to
one's
look
sold me
forward to. And that one comes out when?
February.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That'll be nice.
And then I think Infinity War is late May. Is that what we saw? Yeah.
or
So-
early May. It's in May,
It's in May. Yeah.
and at some point we will get a trailer for that. But with the
I
way
feel
that
like we. Oh, what if? Okay, and this just ties it into Star Wars
Ooh,
coming
Star
up.
Wars
What
could
if?
have it.
So what if Star Wars has the Infinity War trailer? That would
That
make the
would
most
make
sense
sense.
to have the highest market to show it to.
True.
You know what I mean? So that might be
That
coming
might.
out.
Well, and I feel like at that point, because the way that they did Star Wars, they had one trailer, in like February or March maybe, and then they
Yeah, it
didn't
was
do
like
it. They
an
didn't do a
entire
second
teaser.
one
Yeah.
until like last month, and
Right.
then they've had another
Yeah.
like TV spot, and they've been coming out with more stuff about it
A
now.
little bit.
But it's like they probably will do the same thing with Infinity War. I actually doing the Star Wars one makes sense.
It does.
It would make the most sense because, that's next month, December, end of the year.
It's a big reveal.
You have 6 months out. That's the biggest time to. Everybody's gonna see it. 1, 2. You don't even have to have a full. It's gonna be a teaser in some essence, but I mean it'll draw the interest. So.
Well, and if
And
you
you gotta
have
start
one,
building it up 6 months out. Like
you have
it's gonna be
one,
their
then
big
you
one.
can wait until
spring.
maybe Black Panther before the second one comes out.
Yeah.
Or,
Oh yeah. Absolutely. I mean that's kind of how I would do it. So that'll be interesting.
It'll be good. I'm excited for it. I'll see it. Black Panther. I think I was kind of nervous about it at first. But
I wasn't
after
really
seeing-
excited. I was like,
Yeah, I'm
But
more
then that
pumped.
second trailer.
The
just got
first
me.
trailer was kind of like,
Second
all
one,
right. I mean,
yeah.
I knew I was gonna see it just because it's
Right.
Marvel, but
Yeah. The
I do-
second one was.
the second was like, okay,
grabbed
so
me.
I
It was
will
like-
say, I feel like after Guardians 1, they went about how they started kind of doing some of the movies. And they're
Even how
kinda
they
taking
marketed
it- Yeah,
them.
and they're marketing them a little bit
like the
different.
trailers are, yeah.
Yeah, everything just seems
With
like...
Thor, Black Panther, Guardians 2, it's
Yeah.
definitely.
Well,
Well, I mean, I
it's
guess it
falling
started with
apart.
Guardians, like you were saying, but
Yeah.
like it's just a different
I
vibe.
think it just did so well that they're like, okay, we're going to start adapting this.
Like a little more comedic, playful in nature,
Yeah.
hitting the serious beats, like with the earlier Marvel films.
It's
Like
it seemed-
Iron Man was the initial comic relief. It felt like because when they were establishing it on. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like Captain America, super serious.
And like his
Thor
jokes
was
were
even
really
serious
weird. Yeah.
early on.
It's like their jokes, they were
Oh.
serious with like little jokes.
Can
of,
we
like, cultural
all-
difference.
Yeah.
give a little huzzah that Jane is no longer in the movies.
He hated her.
No, they broke up.
No, he broke with her and it was mutual.
It was mutual.
Yeah, no, I'm glad they tied that up. But then
So-
it makes me wonder, like, what are they doing with Pepper Potts and?
They're at the
Infinity
well.
War.
You need to see a certain movie with a spider, and that
I
will clarify
guess
it.
I do.
She's in
Alright,
it.
alright.
Yeah,
At
that'll
the
clar-
end.
Yeah, that'll
At the end.
clarify
Is that
more.
an after credit scene?
No, it's at the end.
It's
No,
before
I know.
credits.
So
But
I will have to check
Oh,
it out for sure.
Speaking of actor credit scenes, like real quick to wrap it up though, the Jeff Goldblum one at the end of Thor Ragnarok is almost like it's funny, but it's also kind of confusing because other than, and this is not something that I brought up, this is something I saw on the internet. I think it was College Humor brought it up. It was like we get this impression that there's this huge revolution. But other than the people in the actual arena, do the other people have a reason to be revolting? They don't seem like they're that oppressed.
Yeah, and weren't they the scavengers
And
anyway?
it-
It's like,
it-
what are you gonna get?
So it's like, was it really any bit more than just that one building that just
They just
housed
want to
that?
bring him down, maybe? I don't know. It was kind of
I
humorous,
thought
but
it
it was
was-
like a little unclear.
yeah, I thought it was pretty funny. Oh, I just love how we don't see any of the rebellion either, so we don't know what happened. at
No,
all.
it's like it's almost like an aftermath of
which
something.
I thought was kind of funny, leaving it up to the imagination. But
Oh, for sure.
yeah, it's kind of. But Goldblum's character was really, really funny. And I just thought the stuff they did with him, like, I'm normally not a big fan of Goldblum, and I thought,
Oh,
like,
look,
he
I'm
did-
stepping in it now.
Yeah,
and then
he's
like he
funny.
talks back, and she hands him like the boomstick. He's like, "What? Why? Like he just spoke up. That's not reason for death. Gosh."
Yeah, and then meanwhile, like Thor's introduction to him is him murking some guy.
Yeah.
So just like nothing.
Well, and then it's like the one girl hates like Valkyrie, and he was like, "What do I always say? It starts with a B." And then what does she say? Like, she says something like really mean, and he was like, "What?"
supposed
That
to be
doesn't even
best.
start with a D.
That doesn't even start with, yeah, he's like, were you just waiting to say that?
No.
And then he was like, I said B, and then she was like, booze head. And he's like, what? No, it's best. I always say you're the best. So I thought that was just like real funny kind of chemistry between them.
Grandmaster.
Yeah. But anyway,
Yeah.
that's what we got.
Star Wars coming. That's gonna be
Yeah.
exciting. I think that's gonna wrap it up for the year in film.
Whinier than ever.
You're not a fan of Luke right now.
I'm not a fan of the
hater.
Skywalker family. They're all whiny assholes.
He's on both the dark side and light side posters.
Yeah, that's a good thing to bring up too. Did you see that thing? They compared all the Star Wars films posters and how the villain always like was the prominent one in the very back and like
And this one's
enlarged.
totally
And
different.
Luke's the one that's in
And
there.
this one's Luke. But like
I don't
already
think he's
said,
the
Luke,
villain, but
Dark side and like
I think it's because of the whole Grey Jedi thing. But
yeah, and that's unclear just kind of how that's gonna play out, and then how Rey ties into. I can see Rey being, Kylo's sister. To be honest.
I hope they're more creative than that.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, how creative can they get? Because there's a lot. Like, they can go super contrarian and pick somebody off the board that
At
we
least,
don't know.
well,
But there could be Kenobi, Solo, or
Kenobi
Skywalker.
to me is the most creative of those three options.
Yes, because
as opposed to
that is
it's
true,
just
but,
another Skywalker. It
it's
just happens to be a solo Skywalker.
Right.
I mean,
that's what Kylo is essentially.
we'll find out in a couple months.
But yeah,
Couple months.
couple weeks, son.
It's 1 month.
1 month, few
A
weeks.
little over a
We'll
month.
find out in a month.
Month and a half.
I didn't realize many times flying by.
That's what it's December 14th.
RJ just had a birthday. He's growing older.
Old ass man.
I'm catching now.
Yeah. The beard shows. You guys are getting older, getting beards.
Dude, I have white hairs in my beard.
Yeah, I got all sorts of colors.
Yeah,
Amazing.
I got
RJ's
reds.
full blown red.
Yeah, man. You got different shades of red. You like 50 Shades of Red.
It's not. It's the less sexy version of the.
It's the flaming version. What are you talking about?
That sounds really bad now.
No.
Anyway, we will
So,
see you guys.
go see Thor. It was good.
See Thor. Best
Highest
movie
rated
ever.
Marvel movie ever. I don't know if it is.
Prepare
though.
to
We didn't
laugh
talk about
and
rankings or
cry.
anything, but
No, just prepare to laugh and cry.
It was not my favorite Marvel movie, but it was definitely up there.
Which one's your favorite?
I
we
really
can do
like Civil
rankings
War.
later.
Oh,
We can do
Civil
that.
War.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah, we could.
We'll do it. Yeah.
How about
Once
this?
this is all
After
done,
we're planning way far in the future.
Right,
After
right.
Infinity War Part 2,
Right, so that'd be
we
2019.
look back at every single one that built up into that, and we rank them in order.
Oh, for sure.
Thor's
for
still
sure.
number one.
Or maybe we do that after Infinity War Part 1.
We can even do it after part 1 because that'll be coming.
And then after Part 2, we can look back and see where we put them.
then we'll adjust it because Captain Marvel and Brie Larson will be out.
All right.
Sorry, I'm a huge Brie Larson fan.
I know you
So.
are. 21 Jump Street.
Yeah.
Pieces.
All right, later. Next topic.
Bye.